So, Elliott.
Hello.
So what if, right, you were a 17-year-old kid, let's say. I know that was 40 years or so ago for you.
12 years ago.
Whatever. And you'd got a chance to play in one of the most iconic, legendary organisations in your game's history. And then 3 months later, they bench you and they say that it was the plan all along and they never really wanted you.
I would call my mom and I would cry. That's what I would do.
I wasn't expecting that, actually. I feel bad for asking
I'm
now.
17 years old. I would cry.
Is he even 17? For those unaware, we're talking about burmylov. It's a poor opera of fnatic.
And fnatic, we should make, because that also isn't clear.
Well, yeah, they have been shit for a long time. But burmylov, and when I say poor opera of fnatic, I mean, look at his ratings. He was fucking bad. But so they benched him this past week, and they've picked up Jambo from Passion UA, who played with their RGL Fear during the Shanghai Major, and said that it was the initial plan all along, which I just think is a really funny wording, if I'm being honest. Like, they didn't need to say that. It was obvious.
No, they didn't. They could have said, he hasn't performed. I have a question. Are Fnatic only allowed to sign players who sound like Pokemon?
my favourite rock type, Crims.
But he's been there for a while, so maybe it's like a new policy.
Yeah, it's burmylov. Rock type, mate.
Burmylov definitely sounds like a Pokemon. There's already a Pokemon called Burmy. But Jambo also really sounds like a Pokemon.
What type of Pokemon would Jambo be? Burmylov's like a grass type. He's like a second evolution grass type. Maybe ground mixed in or poison.
I was thinking Jambo is a grass type. He's like a big,
Yeah.
He's like a big sort of just green character of some.
Yeah, doesn't have an evolution,
Yeah, or he might have like a pre-evolution, like Pseudo Wudo has like Bonds
Well, maybe he's like one of them that Gen 2, Gen 3 didn't have an evolution, then they added one later on because they ran out of imagination. That type of thing.
Who else have they signed? I mean, Mattis, not really. Okay, so it's only a recent thing with Jambo and Burmylov there. No, I mean, I've not watched Burmylov play.
He wasn't good.
Yeah, he had a little bit of hype around him at one point, I believe. I think he was kind of rated. And he's still super young.
It's because he was on Mouse NXT, but I think the problem with that was putting too much faith in Mouse NXT. Because not everyone to come out of there has been good.
Yeah, it's not like a magic place where you just go in and come out amazing.
Because I think he wasn't even frying on Mouse NXT. I think it was just it's what we can get. So.
Well, yeah, but they were always waiting to replace him with Jambo anyway.
Yeah,
they just picked a Ukrainian to get used to the accent.
What would they have done if Burmylov just fried for 3 months? They're just not bothered.
Double up.
Yeah, sound.
Double up.
By fucking Crims. You're finally gone.
But if he was really good, they'd just sell him.
I guess.
They'd just sell him and keep Jambo, I guess. I don't know.
But
yeah, that does seem like a bit of an oversight in the fact, what if he's actually good? But they had so much faith in him being bad that they didn't even plan for this.
But yeah, have you got thoughts on this team now? Because I know obviously one of the players on the team is your arch nemesis.
I mean, you say he's my arch nemesis. He doesn't think of me. He doesn't know who I am.
Yeah, but he lives in your head rent free, mate.
And no, I mean, I just think he's a bit. He's found his level.
Do you know what? I've honestly not looked. I'm going to look now. Has he been
38th? I mean, probably. It doesn't matter.
1.26 past 3 months.
Yeah. He's always frying and never winning.
What's their record like? You're making me do research now. I don't like this.
McDonald's chef, always frying but never actually making any money.
They came second in a CCT recently.
Ooh.
They did a lot worse in a CCT before that.
Yeah, they lost a BC game. We literally have
hang on, I think
Nexa top fragged against them.
Ooh. Okay.
We'll get to him later.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing though with a team like Fnatic, and it's the same with Nip, and we've said it about them. they're at a level right now where it's really hard to be consistent, and they could get to tier 1 and actually like be decent. It's just the case of getting to tier 1 is fucking hard.
So I've said this before. I mean, it's different now, but I've said this before, where people used to look down on teams like Bad News Eagles for not being consistent at tier 2, and yet would simultaneously hold the belief that, oh yeah, of course FaZe are going to lose to BNE sometimes. Tier 2 teams are so volatile. How are you expecting BNE to be consistent against tier 2 teams when FaZe can't be, when G2 can't be? Why are you expecting this of the tier 2 teams? It's like, yeah, fnatic are kind of a tier 2 team now. They're one of the better ones, but it's really hard to be consistent against these teams because they have like high highs and low lows. You're not ever going to be consistent, and they're just completely locked out of the system entirely now because there's barely any open qualifiers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, so they lost the qualifier for PGL Bucharest, and they lost to Apogee, who I believe
are going.
Qualify? Yeah, they did qualify.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So they lost to the eventual winners of that qualifier. But like, who the fuck is Apogee? Like, in the nicest way. Like, they've got one player who I think used to play for 9 and wasn't very good on 9.
Is it Demho?
No,
he's the only one I've heard of.
Jacob. Who's Demho? Who's he played for?
I don't know. I feel like I've heard of him, but I've not heard of Jake.
How the fuck have you heard of him? Look at who he's played for.
Okay, well, maybe I haven't heard of him.
Oh, he played for Let Us Cook. Was that with Snacks?
That might be why. Might be because he played with Snacks.
That might have been with Snacks. It was.
Yeah, that might be why I've heard it. Yeah, I mean, that team's full of nobodies. And if you look at every single game fnatic lose, the scoreboard looks exactly the same. 4 players negative and blame F +3. It's every single one.
But this is the thing, right? Like, they're at the point now where if they qualify for Bucharest, that's fucking great for them. But if they don't win a couple games and get a higher prize reward from it, they haven't grown at all. Yeah. Like, it doesn't...
Yeah. If an organisation like fnatic get forced out of Counter-Strike because of the new system, surely at that point somebody has to go, look, if fnatic are coming out of CS, we've got a problem.
Yeah, straight up. But in terms of the team itself, because we've done another VRS rant again, not sorry, I like it. I know you've got your reservations with Blame F, but like, this is the best a fnatic team has looked in a long time.
That team should be good enough to make top 20, top 15.
It
should,
unless Jambo
is like a one tournament wonder.
Yeah, a one tournament wonder, then like...
Even then,
I guess the same goes for Fear, but Fear looked like a competent IGL with like ability to get decent numbers. Crims, fucking Crims, right? So like, you still see all these people on Twitter. Like, every time fnatic make, why is Crims still there? Why, like, does Crims need to be there? Crims isn't very good, right? Like, Crims is more than serviceable. And you ask people for replacements, and they'll tell you someone that either isn't a replacement or just have no answer for it.
Yeah,
like it's.
I haven't watched Crims enough recently to know if he's actually still serviceable. Like
I bet he's still at the level he was last year and the year before that.
His ratings of late have not been good. I know he's probably changed positions and become more of a. He's probably the bitch player on this team now, but
he should be.
He should be. As he probably is, and his ratings are not great. But I'm very rarely most teams don't get better by replacing their worst player anyway.
Yeah, and I mean Mattis is pretty legit. Jambo and Fear have the potential to be really legit. Like, say what you will about Blame F and his play style, like he is objectively good at the video game.
His play style caps him. But that cap is a lot higher than where fnatic are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's kind of the
my opinion of Blame F is not about whether or not he can make fnatic a top 10 team. It's whether he can make a team he's on a top 3 team, which I don't think he can.
No, I don't think he can either.
No, people talk about him.
I think he can be a great asset to a team that has other stars, which I don't think he's had ever in his career.
See, I don't think so. I think that's kind of his problem. He is really resource heavy, and I think he has to be the main star on a team to be good. Oh, to be
But
elite.
I think he could still be the main star.
I think he takes too much away. He takes too much.
Has he ever had a competent?
He had
I
Device.
guess he had Device.
Yeah.
But that was on some awful teams, like they were playing with Borup.
Not having the Borup hate, I'm afraid.
But you know what I mean?
But Borup was kind of... If you actually watched a lot of those Astralis games, like, Borup was really set up to fail a lot. Like, he was used and abused by BlameF for whatever BlameF wanted to do. Like,
I guess that's,
he was thrown to the wolves on that team.
I guess that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like, BlameF needs an enabler.
Yeah.
In a way that a lot of players don't. And maybe that is a limiting factor.
Do you know the equivalent, I would say, and I actually think is a slightly better player than BlameF, but similar, so Degster. Like, Degster requires a lot to be good, but he's really, really good when he's enabled. It's just you give up so much to have Degster enabled that you kind of cap yourself.
Here's a question, though, and maybe this is served for a better time later on in the podcast when we're going to talk about it more, but just out of interest, current Astralis, are they better with BlameF than Stown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
obviously.
Cool. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that more in a bit then. But yeah,
here's a better question: Are current Astralis better with Borup than Stown?
Yes. But just to move on from Fnatic with a final point then. Right now, who is a better test of the VRS system in your mind? Fnatic or NiP?
NiP. Just because NiP are starting from the bottom. Fnatic are starting from a position where it's like they could break in, but just by being a bit like it's sort of any team who is 29th in the world could sort of break in with a lucky run. Oh, say they were 40th in the world. You have a good run, you can break in. NIP are a test of the VRS system because, like, okay, if you had the ability to be a top 20 team, but your ranking was 200, is it even possible for you to climb the ranks fast enough to make a major?
Well, yeah. What's the MRQ cut off?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. HLTV have. Okay, so Fnatic are currently in the MRQ boundary, and there are 6 spots for stage 1. Okay. So really, Fnatic need that major.
Yeah.
If they don't get that, then maybe they also become a good test of, if you don't get the major, is it possible to break in and break in?
Is it possible to exist?
Well, yeah.
I would not be surprised if Fnatic don't make the major and then pull out of CS entirely.
I tell you what, though, right? I actually hadn't looked at this. Right? Have you looked at who is currently in the MRQ thing? I think it's since swapped with Astralis.
I'm just looking now.
Since swapped with Astralis and Virtus Pro, but let's say Astralis, Game EliGE, Virtus Pro. I'll include both of them for the sake of it. Saw Big, Heroic, B8, OG, BC Game, 500 Fnatic, 9 Pandas, Paravision, Apogee, BetBoom, 9 and Ents. That could have serious ramifications. I'm just looking.
Mine says Passion UA.
Oh, I'm just looking at an article from. It's a week ago. This article.
Oh, okay. This is a prediction based on. I don't know. This is from HLTV.
Yeah,
HLTV have Passion UA 28.
I just clicked on a link from whatever I was looking at.
America's who's anyone interesting? Marsborn are in the Americas one with Wolfie, MOTM, Chop, and a player called Grizz and Minus. Getting Info, who have Marky and CJ the King.
Fucking hell! But like
that is.
But seriously though, like that. I mean, the MRQ for NA with like 3 teams, like. You look at that and you're like, okay, I see the 3 teams that should be qualifying here.
Yeah.
Stage 2, fine. Stage 1, fine. That European MRQ for
Is a bloodbath.
6 spots is a bloodbath. Will probably be the most entertaining tournament of the year.
Oh yeah.
And also, like, is there could be a few orgs that just leave CS after that.
Yeah. This is when we talked about like the RMR having high stakes. At least everyone was in it. Like the RMR, you had like a 50-50 shot of getting it in. If I remember right, it was Swiss system, right?
Yeah.
This you do not have a 50-50 shot of getting in. So the stakes are as high, maybe higher because these teams are not the ones. Like if G2 miss a major, it's gutting, but they're not going to go out of business. If like Saw miss this major, they might go out of business. Like the stakes are insanely high, and there's so few spots.
Like Game Legion could have to sell players. Saw might be all right. OG could fuck off, and I think OG have actually been climbing slightly.
I mean, they're 15th in Europe apparently.
Yeah, like
the MRQ.
Big
God knows how.
Big won't leave, but again, like damaging for them. Heroic, really bad for them, even with the money they've made.
Oh yeah.
BC game, who knows what would happen with them? Fnatic.
BC game are in with a shot. They've been on some. They've been a decent nick recently. Really decent nick.
I think the most interesting team there actually is BetBoom.
Yeah, BetBoom are like always interesting because they are just a complete coin flip. Like,
yeah, no clue at all.
I remember, I think it was a Wigan fan saying about Aruna Kone that he's simultaneously the best and the worst player in the world. And that's kind of how I feel about like BetBoom. They're simultaneously a tier 1 team and like a tier 9 team. They are at times exceptionally stupid, but they're so gifted. There's like all of these players are so gifted. Zorti is unbelievably gifted.
Apart from when he's not, and then he's like just so
apart from
bad.
when he's not. But like he is one of the quickest AWPers you'll ever. He reminds me of Henny. Like he's so quick, but he's also just so inconsistent. And then you've got Axile, who again like it's a coin flip whether or not he turns up. Magna Jez is really talented, but he's not always like he's sometimes a bit invisible. It's just like BetBoom could easily be the best team in here, but they probably won't be. Because...
I've also realised as well, just quickly before we move on, there's no Ents in that list, so they've dropped out.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Whether that has ramifications, I don't know, but I could see a possibility. And the other thing I wanted to mention, because I was going to mention it earlier, why have Passion UA not got burmylov?
Well, they probably will do.
Like, yeah, but why was that just not a swap deal?
Maybe they don't. Maybe they think he's rubbish. They just don't want it.
Yeah, they don't even want him. Like, he doesn't have enough passion.
Fnatic were like, we'll give you 400k for Jambo or 500k and burmylov. They were like, no, we'll take the 400k.
Right, should we move on?
I feel really bad. He's 17. I feel really bad. Poor guy's like, he's not even that bad.
It's just bitterness about your old age, mate. You can get away with it.
Yeah, brilliant.
So the second thing we wanted to talk about today was that Roy, former Fnatic player, but in this case former Gaming Gladiators player, has said that the players expect to go to court against the organisation, stating that they improperly terminated the contracts of several players. Given how that org entered the scene and also like how quickly they seem to disappear again, I'm not surprised that there was something improper going on.
Yeah, it's weird. Gaming Gladiators is like a mainstay in Dota, I think. So it's not like they're a complete.
Yeah, I feel like I've
no.
seen
It's not like they're a company that just came out of nowhere, bought a CS team with crypto, and then went, "Oh, we're actually run out of crypto." Like, I think they're like a legitimate org in Dota.
They've got teams in Apex, StarCraft, Street Fighter, What the fuck is Crossfire?
Oh, I remember playing. It's a really, really old PC game. It's a FPS.
Oh, okay.
Really old. I mean, I remember playing it on a laptop. because it was a free-to-play. It's like popular in China, I think.
It's Dirty Bomb.
That's also an
Bomb?
FPS.
Did you play Dirty
Yeah,
Bomb?
it's an FPS.
That's
Never
garbage.
played it. It's I'm pretty sure they have a Dota team. I've worked Dota before, and I'm pretty sure they have a team in NA. They're an American org.
Canadian, apparently.
There you go.
But yeah, like it's one of them stories, where it's just like you just look at it and you're like, am I that surprised?
I'm not shocked.
Really?
I'm a bit surprised because I thought Gaming Gladiators were a legit org. Maybe they are. Maybe the players are wrong, and actually they were perfectly reasonable to get rid of these players for being rubbish. But with all due respect, if you sign this team, you shouldn't be that surprised when they're not that good.
Yeah, I mean, what was the team? Would I have released it? Let's have a look.
Nodios.
Was that Crown? Is that how you say that?
I think it's meant to be said Crown, but most of the commentators just say Kragans.
Right. Roy and Nikados. I'm surprised that team was shit.
Crowan's a decent player.
Nikados is really good as long as you don't ask
decent.
him to play in Tier 1 or AWP.
Which he wouldn't have been on Gaming Gladiator. He wouldn't have been Tier 1. He'd have been fine on that team. He's currently on OG and doing alright. Now, I think Nikados is fine. I actually think he's alright.
No. Nikados is terrible. In a way where CS2 has benefited him because he's an AWPer who doesn't want to AWP. He wants all the luxury of being an AWPer, just not having to AWP. And if you ask him to AWP or he needs to AWP, he's really fucking bad at it.
I don't think he's that bad at all.
Oh no, he is crap. He is crap.
I don't think he's that bad.
No, fuck that guy.
I think he's serviceable.
He's one of the only players I actually just have a vendetta against.
Oh, I have plenty of vendettas against him. I have time for small fish like Nika does.
Hey,
Blame S my mortal enemy, remember?
Listen, mate. I just don't believe in Nikados. I think he's a myth, and it angers me that he has stickers. And I'm moving on. Because now you've made me talk about Nikados, and now I'm angry. So I'm moving on. Roy, mate, if for some reason you're watching this, I hope the court case is simple. It won't be. I'm moving on now. Because I don't care that much about your story.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I just mean Gaming Gladiators are nah, we fucked it, lads. We'll just pay him off. You know what I mean? Just get it out of the way. The lawyers.
I thought you were calling Nikados stupid by saying, I hope it's simple, otherwise he's not going to understand it.
Well, that too. But in the nicest way, that too. But I hope the lawyers do what I'm doing right now, and they look at the situation, and they just say, "Move on." And with that, let's talk about Falcons, because Falcons and BLAST have had a bit of a falling out in the last week, because BLAST aired a clip from Falcons comms where Zonic's explaining something in a timeout, and Degster says what, and then at some point Nico says, "Are you going to call something, or should I?"
I don't know. I just feel like last round was obviously a bit unlucky, but
what?
Yeah.
Then you should I call something?
No, I'm just thinking.
And obviously the idiots who watched this took it very out of context and assumed that this suggested there was a hugely toxic environment within Falcons. But Elliott, as someone who has watched the clip, what's your takeaway from it?
It's just not that interesting, to be honest. I heard all the furore about it. Sorry, I read all the furore about it. And then I actually watched the clip and I was like, oh, is that it? So, Nico doesn't know. They're running out of time. So he's like, are you going to call something or should I? Because you called the timeout. And it's like, even if there's a little bit of friction there, you have to remember that, Nico's Balkan. That's just how they talk.
Yeah.
To Americans, it sounds like that's just how, it's just how they talk.
Well,
they're quite blunt.
Well, so here's the thing with this clip, right? And there's things I think people are really missing with this. Is one, exactly what you said. It is how Balkans talk. And two, and this is what people would know if they happen to read interviews on Blast TV, not sponsored, just a plug. That was on a CT side, or at least I was told it was. I was out when that happened, and someone in the TLDR Discord told me it was CT side. Nico is the IGL for Falcons on CT side. So he needs to know, is Zonic going to call something, or should he fucking call something? Like, it's not toxic.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's just like the natural way Nico talks. And bear in mind as well, in that same interview, Zonic talks about the reputation Nico has and says that so far Nico's been nothing but a delight to work with. That, like, he's one of the smartest players, the best players, that he's capable of doing so much himself. Like, really bigs him up and just completely shoots down the narrative of what Nico is like. Like, also,
like, I'm sure Zonic's heard worse. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way he hasn't, like, come to blows with. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll have. Things get heated. That wasn't even heated. It was like, oh, are you going to call something, or am I going to? Even if it was a little passive aggressive, it's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter. It gets brushed. Like, by the end of the game, they'd have forgotten it. If it wasn't.
Imagine the comps between, like, Apex and Zonic before Apex took over calling a bit more. I bet they were fucking atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what I mean. Like, can you imagine what Apex says to his coach on a daily basis? There's absolutely no way this is even worth it. I don't think Falcon should complain about it. I don't think Blast should have any
we'll
issues.
get to that.
Let's get to it, because Falcons have filed a complaint against Blast, be like, you shouldn't have shown this because it makes us look bad. It's like, it only makes you look bad to idiots. Like,
yeah, well, because this is the thing, right? And it goes back to what Blade said about the EliGE being in on the other days. Like, these things happen during a fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you little level 6 dickhead out there who plays, like, 3 pugs every 2 days, and you're playing on Mirage with your friends, and you have a little argument, or you got a random that you're shouting with about each other's nationalities. Like, yeah, you're being fucking toxic. These are people who talk every day, who play every day, who are paid to play together, are paid based on their fucking placements. Like, of course they are occasionally going to get a bit wound up at each other because they feel pressure that you can't even fucking imagine while playing that game. But at the same time, they're also professionals. They're also professionals who are taught how to handle this pressure, who've learned how to handle this pressure. And sometimes handling it is just fucking communicating like that and then resetting. And by the end of the game, I promise you, and I'm sure if I got the chance to interview them again, just like I had the chance with Blade, they would be like, yeah, at the end of the game, we didn't even think about that for a second until we saw everyone on Twitter talking about it. Because you guys are fucking idiots. You just are. Like,
also, why do Falcons give a shit about their public image? Like, of all the teams to care about PR, Falcons.
Well, they might have to get too close to a journalist for PR. So,
that's like exactly. Like, nobody likes you anyway. Like, with all due respect, like, you're not a well-liked team anyway. What fucking difference does it make if people on Twitter don't? Zonic really gives a shit if fucking Timmy on Twitter doesn't like him. Like, he didn't give a shit. He's got fucking 5 majors. He didn't give a shit what anyone thinks.
But this is...
He probably doesn't care what Nico thinks. He probably looks at Nico and goes, you don't have a fucking major. But shut up.
But this is why the whole situation is fucking stupid, right? Like, it's stupid that people give a shit and think that this isn't completely normal. Like, do you fuckers not remember what NaVi were like? NaVi could be like 15-0 up in Go, lose 1 round, and Simple's beheaded Edwards and Flamey. Like, it's just the way that these people are. But also, right, why are Falcons complaining for exactly the reasons that you just said? And the same thing with ESL and Blast in this instance. The TOs are right to air these things.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking entertainment product. And, like, footballers are lucky that they don't have to deal with it. F1, it's a completely normal thing. I don't watch F1, right, but every week I will see, like, the highlight of the fucking team radios check-ins. Like, last week...
Which says a lot about F1, I
think. Which last week it was actually quite funny last week. It was who's he raced? Charles Leclerc, like, I think Ferrari. And it was just him, like, a few times in the race just being hassled by the team radio and him just being like, I know, please leave me alone. And it just really made me laugh. Like, the guy just wants to drive, man.
It's like me to my sat nav. I'm getting close to home. But yes, I fucking know. Shut up.
But like, yeah, it's an entertainment product. The TO should absolutely be posting these things. The fact that anyone who works for these companies will be getting shit for it, because they will be, because there'll be some like higher up who's pussyfooting around a bit, who's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do things like that. You can fuck off. Like, your clips have gone massively viral. Like,
in my experience, the broadcast staff are not like that at all. They'd be fine.
Yeah, there'll be a higher up though, outside of broadcast.
Maybe.
And there'll always be the thing of like, oh, should we address this? And it's like, no, you fucking shouldn't. Just do it again. No. Do it again tomorrow. Like,
yeah, follow Zonic around with the camera for a day. See how he fucking likes it.
And you know what? Right, maybe there is a workaround where it's like in a couple rounds' time, you show the context where actually like there's a con where Zonic said something, Nico. It's like, oh, good call, Danny. Well done. If that happens, it probably doesn't happen, to be fair. But like,
yeah, again, he's Balkan. He doesn't say these things.
Yeah, the only time he's ever said anything nice was Elliott.
Yeah,
like after MongolZ carried them to another event, like. But
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm bored of talking about this now. Truthfully, yeah. I just think
let's move on to something else about Falcons.
People need to stop making fucking mountains out of molehills. But yeah, let's talk about something else with Falcons, because we've got a few takes of the week this week. Some are good, some are bad, and I believe two of them come from Pimp.
There's a good. Yeah, we can talk about two Pimp ones.
Yeah. Well, I think like we'll get to the other two as we get to the teams, right?
Yeah.
So Pimp was talking about why it was on the desk for Open. He was talking about why Falcons struggled to become a world-class team, and his point is that basically like, how can you play to your like maximum value when you know that Falcons is a team that have said that we're just going to fucking spend money until we're at the top, and you know that you were possibly signed because you were in a core already, and every bad performance, someone's looking at you like, oh, but this player, like MongolZ, Jim Fat, these type of players, like, how can you perform at your best? And I think it's absolutely fucking 100% true.
Yeah. I think Pimp had a bit of a stormer on the desk in the last week, and that one is a great point. I mean, I've heard it from players before. It's like, yeah, like, and when you know they're going to get replaced, it's like you just lose all motivation, don't they? It's like Degster, for example. He was only signed because he was with the Heroic Core. The Heroic Core were trying to get rid of him before, if reports are to be believed. And now it's like, everyone knows MongolZ's going to Falcons. Or it feels like everyone knows MongolZ's going to Falcons.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's actually true.
Well, that's the thing with MongolZ, right? Even if he doesn't want to, he ain't going to want to stick around on this G2 team, right?
No.
In which case, the only two teams, if he wants his Russian-speaking dream, the only two teams he can go to are Virtus Pro and Spirit. Have VP done enough that he will look at that team and think, if I replace Icy, I'm not going to be in the same predicament? Because I don't think they have. Right?
No. But I do think replacing Icy with MongolZ does very much change the conversation.
It makes them a lot better, sure.
I don't know if it makes them number one in the world, yeah.
But I think it makes them on par with G2 with MongolZ.
Yeah.
So it's a sideways move he's not going to do if he's smart.
I would say they're a bit more cohesive, but I'm not sure. I'm still not sure on Electronicas and IG.
Oh, I'm very sure on Electronicas and IGL, and I'm sure that it's bad.
I'm a little unsure now because it feels like they've been fine.
Mouse have been fine.
I thought they'd be worse. Yeah, and now I'm unsure.
But so his only other option then is Spirit. Now, Spirit might dump Shiro for MongolZ.
It seems like a lot of money when they don't really need to.
But yeah.
But
I think it more depends on how good Vitality do for the next few months as to whether Spirit go for that.
If you have MongolZ and Donk,
and you lose an event.
No, but you are like set for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to buy a player.
I tell you
don't need to buy a star for a long time.
It is the one move I actually don't want to see happen, because I think it would make Counter-Strike very boring. Like, if Vitality slow down even, like, the slightest degree...
Which they will.
Against that team, Like we just go from Vitality smacking everyone to Spirit smacking everyone, and teams dominating ain't fun. I don't like it's just not in Counter-Strike terms, because it's not like it's not being fun in football, right? But when you've got like every year you end up with like, oh, Man City have won the league again, Man City have won the league again. At least you get like the let's say 30 weeks where it's like, bloody hell, will Arsenal do it this year? Liverpool are putting up a fight. But in Counter-Strike you get a trophy every 2 weeks. If the same team is winning every week, it's like, it's miserable to watch.
That is true.
It's so miserable.
Before we get back to Falcons, who's the most fun, realistic team you can see MongolZ going to? Like, not even realistic, but like, he's not going to FlyQuest. What I mean, like, what move would you want to see? Where do you want to see him
go? Does it have to be singular?
I don't know what that means.
Like one team, or can I say that I don't care as long as it's one of these 3 teams?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I don't care as long as it's Falcons, FaZe, or NaVi.
So I was thinking FaZe or NaVi would be kind of fun. I'd like to see Karrigan have MongolZ for 6 months before he retires.
I'd like to see Karrigan have MongolZ. I'd like to see if Wonderful should be blamed as much as he is. I actually think that might be slightly unfair, but I think it's unfair he's blamed as much as he is. I think it's fair he's blamed. But I'd also like, if Nico's on Falcons, I want the Falcons to be up there. And
I don't, but
like, you hate everyone and everything.
Yeah, it's not even. I don't actually dislike Falcons. I just dislike Nico. I don't want Nico to win.
Yeah, but
I actually have no problem with the Saudis.
Loaded. But yeah, like Falcons, I can't find it in me to dislike them either. So like, if MongolZ makes them more competitive, if MongolZ makes them a top 5 team consistently, good. What
about Liquid for Ultimate? That is one hell of an upgrade.
I mean, look, I ain't gonna complain, but I'm still gonna like have my rants every time they lose because Twist is not an IGL.
Does it even matter at that point? They literally, if they have MongolZ,
if they can't win, if they got MongolZ and they can't win a fucking trophy with MongolZ, back out of CS. Like, actually back out of CS. Like, you're not worth it anymore.
Yeah. I don't see any other landing play. I mean, it will be Falcons, but it'll have to be Liquid, FaZe, NaVi. I can't see anyone else.
The thing is, right, when MongolZ leaves G2, I know G2 haven't been great this year, and they've had a couple times where they've been like a bit rough, like Nexa. But when MongolZ leaves G2, we lose G2 as ever being a contender.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go to a team that already feels like a contender. And that's why I think Navi's okay, because Navi to me don't feel like a contender at the moment. I like only Spirit and Vitality do.
Yeah.
So I just don't want him to go to Spirit. As long as he goes to any other team.
What if he goes to Vitality?
Who would you even get rid of?
I honestly no idea.
I don't like it. That's the thing, right?
Just would be fun.
Like,
what if Falcons buy ZywOo and Vitality get MongolZ? Now that's fun.
I'm kind of interested in it, actually.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I won't lie to you, I'm kind of interested in it. Because I actually think that is like, I know like last year, like Dunk kind of snatched away the Player of the Year award with like the last event of the season or whatever. I think MongolZ on Vitality and whether he can match ZywOo would actually be a really good test of what MongolZ's true level is.
And Apex would have nobody to Steam message in French when things were going bad.
Do you reckon he does that?
Definitely.
I really hope he does.
Oh, definitely. ZywOo doesn't read it, but Apex definitely sends him messages in French.
There was some good... We played earlier, there was some good Steam messages being... I love that. I hope everyone does that. I don't know if everyone does, but I really hope they do.
I think it's a universal thing. But yeah, I think people do.
I hope as well that like Apex doesn't mute his mic as he does it, and he just he kind of leans into the keyboard, make sure that his mic's picking up all the tappy sounds, and just like someone knows they're getting flamed in Zyru's DMs.
I've played a game. I won't tell you, but I was playing. No, I was playing with 3 of my friends, and 2 of them started a group chat with me on Steam, which I didn't even know you could do. I didn't even. So
Yeah, I used to be like really bad for it and not muting my mic, and someone said to me sometimes, I know when you're typing that I'm being flamed, and I was like, well, at least you're self-aware.
Yeah.
It's not my fault you're fucking brain dead. But yeah, let's move on.
Enough about Falcons.
Fuck's sake. Ooh. Okay. Pimp was right.
I'd like to say in your notes for the next story, you've written, FaZe, is EliGE working? And I'm going to answer that, no. Move on.
We do, unfortunately, have to talk about it a little bit. Yeah, it's just not working out, is it?
No. We've talked before about FaZe losing that balance. Like, they used to be so back-heavy, is a horrible way of putting it, but like they were not front-loaded at all. They had all of their like star power in the end of the round. Like, it was all Rops. I'm gonna say Brokey, and you're gonna laugh. Like, Rops and Brokey were like an insane late round duo. And that's where all their firepower was. So they would just sacrifice Rain and Carry.
I don't know why I'd laugh at that. It's like really true. But that
because we talked about going to complexity like within the last 6 months.
Well, he'd be an improvement on Halzerk.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
but so this is the thing with FaZe, right? Is EliGE working is a question, but as well, like, is EliGE the problem? Like, what? Because Brokey's playing bad, right? So you may have lost Robs, and you've lost like that second part of that duo, which could be contributing towards Brokey. But you've also got Brokey just isn't playing well either. And even if they had Robs, if Brokey was still playing like that, it wouldn't fucking matter.
It's really hard, like, to ever call Brokey the problem, because it's like he is the problem like 50% of the time, but then the other 50% of the time he's absolutely incredible. And it's like, you look stupid calling him the problem, because when they win big games, he's usually their best player. Okay.
Do we give Brokey,
he is an X factor?
Do we give Brokey too much room though? Because we've had the same conversation about Halzerk, and you've said before that Halzerk would have been a potential bottleneck for complexity. So is Brokey then not a bottleneck for FaZe?
No, he was like, Brokey's had MVP performances in S tier wins. Like, Brokey's peak is like absolutely insane.
Yeah, but we've also said that Halzerk is like B-Tech Brokey. So why does the same not get applied? Because the ceiling is higher, and it's simply that he is a big. Unfortunately, he is just a big game player, and that's not something you can really quantify. But when FaZe win in arenas, it is quite often down to Brokey just having a monster game or having a quiet like 40 in a series. Like, he just has these games in big moments, and he is a large part of the reason FaZe are so clutch, or at least were so clutch. Like, he is a clutch player, whether or not, I don't mean that in a literal like he wins 1v3, he does do that. He's just clutch. Well, he was a big reason as to why they won the major. And to be fair, he went 53 in a. I seem to remember him not. He did top frag.
Yeah, but he does. Like, he top frags in their big games regularly.
But Inferno in particular, he top fragged Inferno and was second on Nuke, albeit with 7 less kills than Rain. But that Inferno, like, one of the best Alt v Alt duels of all time, because Brokey just like played simple off the map.
Yeah, like he's just, I don't know what it is. It's an undiagnosable problem because he's just clutch, but he's just shit at the same time.
It's funny I've said that. I've said played simple off the map. Simple went 28 and 30.
Yeah, I mean,
you can Simple can get played off the map by a singular individual, but he still goes 28 and 30 at that point. Like,
yeah,
what a guy.
Like, the problem, quote unquote, FaZe is that if you look at the team that won the major, they have replaced 2 players, and I think both of them are marginal but downgrades. I think from that team, if you go Rops to Frozen, I think that's a marginal downgrade. You go from Twist to EliGE, I think that's a marginal downgrade.
But that's also not the replacements they did.
No, I know, but that's what they've ended up with. That's the team we're looking at.
Really?
And if you say, okay, player for player, they've swapped Rops and Twist out for Frozen and EliGE, I'd always take Rops and Twist every single time.
I'd have took Rops and Frozen if I hadn't seen Rops and Frozen play for a year.
Fine.
But you know what I mean, though? I thought that would be a bigger upgrade for FaZe than it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Because I actually agree now. Like in hindsight, downgrade. At the time, I thought Frozen's like more consistent output would have been better, and it just wasn't.
Rops isn't just about his output, though, is it? Like
no, I meant Frozen of Twist.
Like... Oh, sorry, yeah.
As the actual like moves happened.
Yeah.
But
they had like 3 of the most clutch players of all time on this team.
But so this
and a clutch RGL.
This is the thing, right? So what actually is the issue with FaZe? Like you've got Brokey. Brokey's not performing as well. Fine. So you've lost clutch factor there. You've lost clutch factor in Rops, and let's be fair, EliGE ain't Rops. Fear factor as well, right? EliGE hasn't been at his best since joining. Rain is now playing in new spots in a lot of places, and he's playing like Rain, which I'm not.
He's fine.
Like he's fine, but he's also like not great until you get in the big game.
Yeah, Rain isn't really a superstar. He's just like he's a good player with big moments.
But that just like people will pin it on EliGE, right? And I think there is things with it because like if you look at interviews, you'll see people have said like, oh well, EliGE is more comfortable with all these protocols. He's more comfortable with this different way of calling, so we're trying to adapt to work for that, and we think it will be better in the long run. Motherfuckers, you just skipped fucking Pro League. You skipped Pro League. You've shown no improvement over your events. Like you can say
also, the long Carrigan run doesn't have a long run left.
Yeah, you can say the long run.
Pro's old.
But what is the long run? Because you're not getting any fucking better. And as well, right? If EliGE came into this team and was like, well, I'm not comfortable playing like this. We should play more my way. Motherfucker, you are playing with the greatest IGL in the history of the game.
You just
who far exceeds anyone you've ever played with. Shut the fuck up and play his game.
He went from JT to Carrigan and was like, yeah, you're not calling like JT.
Yeah,
yes, I know. That's the point.
Like, because if that is a reason, that would genuinely, like, fucking annoy me. Like, if in 6 months' time, they're like, oh, yeah, when EliGE came in, we tried to make him more comfortable and that was wrong. We needed to bring him into our system. Fuck the lot of you. Like, actually, like, you have just wasted Carrigan's time.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah. But then I do think... I just think, man for man, they're not... Like, FaZe existed entirely through magic. Like, FaZe winning events... or like winning it was entirely magic. Like you can't ship of Theseus. You can't remove players and bring in new ones and keep the magic. Like that magic existed in probably 6 players, and you got rid of probably the most important one. Yeah. Like Rops, he is just a magic. Like he is a player who had magic moments on FaZe. Like, the amount of bullshit Rops has gotten away with on that team. Do you remember was it IM Katowice against
Inferno
G2?
One.
Bullshit. Like no other player in the world would have done that at that moment in time. It only ever would happen for a FaZe player, and it would have to.
Wasn't it also the Antwerp final? I might be getting this the wrong way round, and it was actually. It was Simple coming up mid, wasn't it? It was like the last round of regulation. I think that was Rops again. Like Simple gets a kill Banana, he like fakes running up Banana and then shifts back up mid, and Rops just stayed standing next to the boiler. Simple just walks out, Rops just takes his head off. Like it's a complete like voodoo bullshit.
Yeah. That FaZe were never good. Like I know it's ridiculous. They were good at one point. For a long time, they were not a good team. They just won through sheer force of will and clutch factor and just magic. And you can't just get new magic. It's not how it works. Yeah. It's like if you took Magisk out of Peak Astralis and just put in like Shush. Shush is a great player, but he doesn't have magic. He's not. You can't just for like replace and keep the magic. Carrigan's good, but he's not that good.
But so here's the question then. Before we move on, do you think this FaZe can get good, or do you think this FaZe needs a roster move?
I think structurally they're kind of weird. They can be like a playoff team, definitely. I don't think they're going to be a contender.
Okay, yeah. I think that's fair.
Like, Vitality have more firepower, more structure, and they just have a deeper roster.
Let me rephrase the question then. Eternal Fire are currently pretty much guaranteed playoff team, it seems, right?
Yeah.
This current phase, without a roster move, peak level, better or worse than Eternal Fire?
Peak level better, but I think that peak is fleeting. I don't think there's a...
Okay, no, but like peak consistent level, not like...
Then Eternal
Not
Fire.
like their one tournament, like absolute pop-off, like...
Then Eternal Fire.
Yeah, over a 3-month period, like, who's finishing in the higher positions?
FaZe have a better chance of winning a tournament than Eternal Fire do, but Eternal Fire are a better team. And
yeah, okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Like, FaZe could go out, like, 12th, win a tournament, and then go out 16th the next one.
Yeah, okay. So instead then, talk about a team that has absolutely no fucking hope at all. Astralis, mate. Astralis are utter dog shit. And I'm genuinely amazed by them every time. And how bad they are.
I used to pray for times like these. God is so good.
No, because the thing is, right, I wrote about it in the newsletter the other day, and I said, like, Cadian's getting a lot of shit, like, especially Thorin's going in on him. And Cadian had a couple of really bad maps at BLAST Open.
Ooh.
He did.
Ooh. Yes, he did.
But a lot of the good IGLs have had these really bad maps. EliGE was hopeless against Eternal Fire. Carrigan's had some stinkers. Apex has had stinkers. Name an IGL, they have had a stinker. They've
Nexa.
all done it. Don't get me started. But so they have all done it, right?
Yeah.
So is it his fault? Because my point in the newsletter was, you look at the other international teams. If we look at the MongolZ and Eternal Fire as the two examples, what do Astralis have in terms of pure mechanical output that you would say a single one of the players right now, again, maybe Device, maybe you can make an argument for Device over like Woxic. I wouldn't make it over 9-10 right now.
Like, Stare over, like, one of their four, Stare might get in over, like... Wait.
Over who? Who? If you go roll for roll...
Honestly, Wicadia's really hit and miss. Like, Stare for Wicadia...
Stare's hit and miss.
It. Yeah, true.
Stare's hit and miss, and his fucking ceiling is nowhere near Wikadia's sick.
Yeah, that is fair. I kind of rate Stare. I think Stare's better than this team.
I bet if I look right now, why is HLTV verifying if I'm a human? Yeah, Wicadia 1.27. Right, he's the reason they're in playoffs.
Yeah.
Where's Stare? Let me.
I love Wicadia.
To the bottom.
I've watched far too many bad games of Wicadia recently.
There we go. So the fourth lowest rated player at BLAST Open is Stare.
Yeah, like Astralis are a complete shit show. Stare, I do honestly think Stare is a lot better than this, and I think he on a
I don't think he is.
better team would be a lot better. Well, I do.
I think he's inconsistent as fuck, and I don't think his ceiling's particularly high.
Most of those players tend to be kind of inconsistent. I think on a better team, Stare is actually like the most salvageable of their riflers. To be honest,
that's saying much, isn't it? But this is the thing, right? To go back to my original point, like when you're in an era where international teams kind of benefit firepower over a tactical sense, and that firepower has become even more important by the way that CS2 games are played.
Mm-hmm.
How can Astralis compete? Because they're no better tactically than Eternal Fire or the MongolZ either.
Oh god, I know. The MongolZ outplay them like 99 times out of 100.
And they don't possess a single player like Wicadia, Xantares,
no, they don't.
Sensu, Techno, that's just going to run around the corner and rip your head off. It might look like they do because they're a pro player, but believe me, it's very different when Yabby and Stown do it.
Oh yeah. Like, I guess that's probably why I'm not as harsh on Stare. Is he's the one player who at least has it within him to run around a corner and headshot somebody. It's like being that player on a bad team is really fucking hard. Wicadia is unbelievably gifted. It's just he's struggled since Joss joined. But he's been
fucking prime recently.
Yeah, I mean that's good because that's their like win. That's their win condition.
But so what's the answer, right? Because like I've seen some people saying like, oh well, they should try Cadian AWP and device rifle. What the fuck is that fixing? Like actually, what the fuck is that fixing? Like
it kind of makes Cadian a factor at least.
But Cadian was shite at AWPing on Liquid.
Well, yeah, I mean Cadian I think is just I think the magic's gone. I don't think he has. He has it anymore.
Oh mate, like.
But this is not the team to find out.
He does not seem to have it anymore at all. So they have to go international or they'll sink.
Yeah, every single time Astralis play, I think Tesses is even better. Like, every time I watch Astralis play, I'm like, Tesses is even better than I thought he was. Tesses and Shush are unbelievably good.
This is the thing, right? Like, oh well, you could get some signings. Who are you going to bring in? Who the fuck are you going to bring in?
Yeah.
Tesses
and Shush.
Shush? Blame F? You're not getting any of them. You might get Tesses eventually.
I've said this before. They burn all of their bridges with every single player and organisation in their country to build the worst Danish team ever. What have you've wasted millions and pissed everyone off, and this is the team you created. At least Real Madrid do it. They have Mbappe and fucking Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not Cadian on a 0.4 and fucking Yappy.
Yeah, it's just like... I'm sick of them being at events now. They've gone into the fucking FlyQuest category.
Oh no. I will never get tired of watching Astralis lose.
But like...
It's like watching Man United. Like, it's amazing.
Oh, but they got third at PGL. Yeah, fuck off. Like, they're shit, man. And they're always going to talk about the fact that, like, oh, well, we can be title contenders one day. No, you fucking can't.
Let them believe it.
Like, at least other teams, like, you speak to FlyQuest and like, oh, well, maybe we'll get a win this event. No, you fucking won't. But I respect you for being hopeful. Like, fuck off. Just...
There was I watched League of Legends Worlds a few years ago, and there was an Australian team. I got really into League for a bit. There was an Australian team there, and they made each team that was at the event. It might have been MSI, or it was one, but they made each team pick like their song, like, and it was played when they had their like intro video. Do you know what the Australian team's was?
Smoko's a banger. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you know what the Australian team's song was? Just hold on, we're going home. I thought that was great.
That is good.
They were just like, yeah, we ain't gonna win.
Astralis should start playing that because they're fucking hopeless. Yeah. With that,
Denmark needed to be taken down a peg.
I agree, but I think this is about 5 pegs. Like they've had enough.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple other takes. We won't talk about Liquid, but we do have a take that I know Elliott wants to read out because it is just funny.
Yeah. So bear in mind, this was after Liquid beat Imperial. It wasn't even after a loss. Y2B or at AS Lebont 1927 replied to the HLTV result again of Liquid winning with, "It's time to admit G2 were correct when they replaced this JKS bomb with Nexa."
It's just insane, by the way, because Nexa made G2 so much worse.
But it's so funny.
Oh, it's really funny.
So good.
On the flip side, because I don't even know if it's the flip side, because that is a good take. It's a bad take, but it's an incredibly good take.
It's really funny.
We mentioned we gave a take from him already, but we'll get the editor to whack it on screen now or put it in the description, whatever. I don't care. There's another one from Pimp where he's just talking about his personal frustrations with Liquid, and honestly, like, Pimp has done some fucking stellar work.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
Like, I think Pimp's been the best analyst in the game for a long time, but this week's been like particularly good. Like, he's been absolutely cooking with his takes, and just a really good one on Liquid.
I'd like to say MBK is a lot more handsome than I remember.
I feel like he was always a fairly decent looking bloke, was he not? Did he have like a heroin stage or something?
I think I just didn't. I guess I just forgot. I don't know. It's just quite. I was just like sort of taken aback. I was like, actually, he's actually quite handsome. So that was my take on it.
Fair enough. So the last thing I wanted to talk about really quickly, before we give our very obvious predictions for the playoffs of BLAST Open Lisbon, is just one more tweet from a guy called @FrostX on Twitter, which me and Elliott have already spoken a little bit about, and I know we kind of disagree on it. But it's about the MongolZ, because the MongolZ failed to make playoffs after being beaten pretty convincingly by what I think we both think is a pretty dodgy G2 team. And it just says, MongolZ had a whole year in Tier 1 and still failed to show big improvements. At some point you can't be underdogs forever. It just means there's something missing. They're by far the best Asian team, but if you keep choking and shaking on stage, are you really Tier 1?
Yeah, so like parts of it are insane, but I think there's a nugget of truth in there, which is that like at some point you're not the underdog. Like they are one of the best teams in the world, but they do just let you down. They're like Romelu Lukaku. Like he's really good. He's got a lot of goals, and by any like metric, he's a really good centre forward. But if he goes 1-on-1 in the 120th minute of the World Cup final, you know he's going to miss. And that's how I feel about MongolZ. Like, they will keep going really far, or like keep going far and then just bottling it at like the quarterfinals or the semis, or in this case, the game before the quarterfinals.
Okay, they will, right? But like, let's talk about the insane part, because the insane part is the no improvement, which is like, right, you've got fucking memory loss. Because a year ago, it was a fucking fantastic achievement if the MongolZ made a playoffs. Like, it was so good if they made a playoffs. It was still unheard of. And now it's to the point where we expect it. And we call it a disappointment if they don't. If that's not fucking growth, I don't know what it is. Right, but let's just... We'll go back slightly, just for the sake of it, right? We'll go back to Shanghai, which is when they made major playoffs. They lost to Mouse. Did we not think Mouse was like a top 3-4 team in the world at the time? So is that an acceptable loss? I'd say it is. Right? We go ahead.
Loss is acceptable for me.
We go ahead to Kato. They lose to NaVi in the group stage. The team of the year of the previous year. Like, okay, fine. You can lose to them in my books. In the playoffs, they lost to Vitality. Are we moaning about them losing to Vitality? Go ahead. Cluj, fair enough. They lost to Astralis. They lost 2-0 to Astralis. That is a poor result. That's worth talking about, right? Pro League. Who'd they lose to? They lost 2 games. Spirit and Vitality. Are we moaning about either of these losses? Right, at BLAST, they lost to NaVi and they lost to G2, right? Now, we've said what we've said about G2. Would you put the MongolZ in the same category as G2 right now? Because I still would. They've still got MongolZ and MongolZ, who I think really fucking highly of, regardless of what I think about Snacks. So, to me, these are acceptable losses. And they're coming at generally acceptable times where, sure, you can look at them and be like, well, they're still bottling, they're still shaking. But outside that Astralis game, did you expect them to beat Mouse? Just because Mouse maybe also choked? Did you expect them to beat Vitality? Like, I can go further back if you like.
I guess what I would say is you might expect them, if they're the 4th or 5th best team in the world, you might expect them to beat one of those on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like they've had a lot of chances now, and like they don't have any scalps on stage to talk about, and they still like Senzu's still just not the same player on stage.
Yeah, you can talk about Senzu then. Senzu's fine, but as the whole team, I don't think it's fair in the slightest.
No.
I don't think there's a single bit of truth to it, because I also think they've probably still played a lot less playoffs than people think they have.
Yeah, but
I think it's an absurd take.
I just get I just think they're gonna keep letting you down, and that's like they can't be underdogs forever. Is the bit I kind of find some truth in. It's like they're not underdogs anymore. Like they're still sort of treated as though, oh yeah, it's fine.
Then what are they?
They should be one of the best teams in the world.
Are they not that? Scroll down the world ranking. How far does it go down?
Well, I know, but
what do you want to call one of the best teams in the world? This is the thing.
I wouldn't be saying, oh yeah, well they lost to this team and this team, so it's fine. Like,
no, but this is where it's fucking stupid. This is where it's fucking stupid, because the goalposts for things like these constantly fucking move.
Yeah, because they have to.
They're in the tier below Vitality and Spirit, and you could, if you want to make up another tier, they're also in the tier below NaVi. And there's that extra tier that NaVi exists in itself, while we still don't know where they are, right? And then it's Mouse, Eternal Fire, the MongolZ, G2 in a tier. That's not a fucking bad place to be, and they're losing to teams above them.
It's not
3 classes to teams below them, which all those teams experience.
I think they've failed to show big improvements. He's insane. They're clearly a hell of a lot better than they used to be. But I also think there is some, like he says, there's just something missing. I kind of agree that like they're not quite there. He's framed it in a really insane way.
But that's the thing. I think the wording is absolutely
yeah. Like his framing is horrendous.
It's that word that Zelsis said on a Valorant stream.
Let's not do this. He's framed it horrendous. Like what it should say is like, MongolZ are nearly there, but there's something that isn't quite clicking for them. And it's like they're going to keep being nearly there, and at some point you have to ask the question, like we did with Mouse, right? Like the story with Mouse was, oh yeah, but it's going to click on stage eventually, and then after like 2 years, like no, it ain't clicking on stage. And it's kind of like MongolZ aren't there yet, but it's like I've seen a few teams now where it's like, oh yeah, once they click on stage, but they just don't.
But at the same time, MongolZ have had a lot less opportunities on stage than Mouse.
Yeah.
Which is 1. And 2, they've played some pretty fucking good teams on stages.
Yeah.
Like I just think that tweet in 6 to 9 months' time, maybe it's a fair tweet. Right now, I don't think it's fair at all.
It's probably a little. It's probably a little early. Like at least wait till after the major, I would say.
Yeah. If they make the playoffs of every event they attend between now,
or if they lose to G2 in what is a proxy quarterfinal,
I just think it's a bit silly, and I also think it's I think these conversations about teams, and I know it used to be a conversation about Astralis, like pre-Glaive and Kierby.
So they needed a change.
Whichever one came first. But it's. I think it's also a symptom of 16 playoffs.
Yeah, 16 playoffs.
But
we don't have enough time to get into them.
Yeah, I really don't think 16 playoffs help things like this. But let's move on because I've had my rant and I really don't care
And we're at
about your
70
opinions.
minutes already.
We are also a bit far into this episode, right? So we've got the playoffs of BLAST Open happening this weekend, which we'll talk about next week more in depth. The one side of the bracket is hilarious because it's Spirit, NaVi and Vitality, and the other side of the bracket is MongolZ, G2 and Eternal Fire. So, Elliott, what I'd like from you are who's going to win the quarterfinals and who will be the winner of the event. We don't have to do winners of every game, but yeah, who's going through to the semi-finals and who's going to win the event?
Spirit and Mouse. And Mouse are going to win it.
Oh.
Why not? Swing for the fences. You get 1 point if you guess it right and it's Vitality. You get like 30 if it's Mouse.
So I'm going to say NaVi are going to continue to leave us really confused and will be in the semi-finals.
Yeah. And get dumpstered by Vitality.
And G2 are going to once again raise the question as to whether Mouse cannot play on a stage. And Vitality will win the event.
Vitality are going to win the world's first 17-0 against NaVi. Somehow.
Yeah, I think Spirit could beat Vitality. But there's just something in my head telling me that NaVi have played so badly at this event that, like... because they have, by the way. If you've not looked at the stats...
I can't lie, I get it.
If you've not looked at the stats of this event...
It's like Italy in the Euros. It's like, when they're in the quarterfinals, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah. They've been so bad. They're going to pull out the stinkiest 1-0 we've ever seen.
Like, Matt, can you please put up a screenshot of NaVi's individual player ratings from this event, by the way? Because they are fucking awful. No one is playing well at all. And Bits, right, I know what we had that take last week or whatever it was about, like, give Bits the worst player, like JL's God or whatever the fuck it said. Bit has been horrendous. Bits, he's not been good at all. But yeah, so yeah. I think
he's going to drop 1.3 and they're going to win.
Because of that, yeah, Bit's about to have like the game of his career, spank dunk. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's allowed, actually. That still might be.
Doesn't Bit, like, actually nearly always play well against Spirit as well?
I think so.
Is it like most Spirit NaVi games, like NaVi are all on 0.8, so you've got Bit at like 1.2?
He's currently there in his hotel room grunting to himself and thinking, I should make a change. I'm going to leave my knuckles unshaved.
He's like the only player who can take on Donk in a mechanical duel and beat him. He's probably like he just does well against Spirit because he's the only person who can actually win a fight against Donk.
Shaving his knuckles made him too aerodynamic.
I was just going to glaze over it. I was going to glaze over it.
I can't. But yeah,
didn't want to.
I think NaVi will somehow do that. They'll then like probably capitulate entirely, and it'll be really fun.
17-0.
Yeah. But yeah, you see it, I see it, and we'll see if it's true next week. I guess that was good. Do you like that? That was good.
Yeah,
I'm
excellent.
impressed with that. Fuck you.
I mean, you ruined it by acknowledging it, unfortunately.
No, I impressed myself so much as I said it.
Yeah, you ruined it.
Yeah, anyway, fuck you. You're still a Blues fan. You ruin everything daily. I'm Sam, or Animo. My Twitter is at AnimoCS2. There's a 1 in place of the I, in case you're an idiot, or if you can't read the thing that's below my face. He's Elliott at AZesque. If you haven't followed him by now, don't bother because his Twitter's shit nowadays.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you've lost the magic as well. Actually, you're FaZe. You should change your name to FaZe AZesque parody account.
No,
you should.
I need a job.
You do need a job.
Somebody hire me.
Speaking of people with jobs, not that we pay them in anything other than insults. Mac and James also work on the podcast. I don't know what they do. They do something, and they also have Twitters. I don't know what they are.
You do know what they do, by the way, because you were demanding Mac post something on the screen earlier.
Yeah, but James could be the one to do that. Anyway, fuck you, Mac. James. See you all later. Bye.